When we found out we were pregnant with twins, I didn't believe it. I felt like his mouth fell open, and I just didn't believe it. It was wonderful to see the two little heartbeats up on the ultrasound TV. Went in, it was just my regular 30-week checkup, and she took one look at me and said, "Oh my gosh, you are so swollen, through all the way from your legs all the way up into your face and your eyes." My blood pressure was elevated at that point. I had protein in my urine, so that's when she made the decision to send us to the hospital just to do lab work and to see if I really truly was becoming preeclamptic or not. It was kind of ironic because at the time we were in the hospital, I started having regular contractions. So they admitted me and hooked me up to a monitor. And that's when Dr. Yeomans walked in and he said, "I didn't give you the impression that you were going home, did I?" And I said, "No," kind of caught off guard. And he said, "Because you're not. You're here for the remainder of your pregnancy. And whether that's 1 week from now or 6 weeks from now, you're not leaving the hospital until you have the babies."
So Friday afternoon, we made the decision together for me to go home and kind of finish up some things, clean up the house, pack some bags, and kind of finish the nursery and get the house situated for when we do come home. And I made a steak dinner. I called it my last supper. And phone rang at 3 a.m. and Ryan, your brother told me to get up to Lubbock, so.
I didn't feel right. I thought I had heartburn. I ended up calling the nurse in and they checked my blood pressure. It was very high, and it was then that the commotion started, and they rushed me down to L&D. When you deliver twins, we go to the OR, and especially with them being so early and kind of with things how they had happened. And I knew I was in the best of hands, so I was never really worried about something happening. But then it did, and it got scary really quickly. I ended up, after delivering Millie, she came out and she was fiery, like her red hair, and she was screaming and breathing, and so everyone was like, look at her, and I do remember thinking, I just want to grab her and put her on my chest, and we couldn't do that. They're like, okay, now, we've got to get your son out, and so we were able to deliver him. He was breech, so it was a very difficult delivery with him. He wasn't breathing, and so he was immediately intubated to stabilize him. And then I retained some of his placenta, and so because he was where he was situated, it was difficult to get that out, and so he was bleeding a lot. And I just remember looking over at Parker, and I could feel the walls closing in, and I knew just from being in the medical field myself that things weren't going great. And I just remember looking at him and saying, I love you, I love my babies, take care of everyone if something happens to me. But it was by the grace of God that we had a great medical team, and they were able to take care of everything and stabilize me quickly.
I remember they gave me the choice to go with the babies or stay with Mallory, and that was one of the most difficult choices I've ever made in my life, Because on one hand, you've got your wife who just went through a pretty traumatic birthing process. Oh my God, that was gonna be so
It's okay.
Who could very well literally be on her deathbed. And on the other hand, you've got two newborn babies that you've worked for and tried for for so long.
If I couldn't be there to hold them for the first time or see them for the first time, the only person I would ever want is him. And so I do remember thinking, just go take care of them. Just go be with them. Let them hear your voice, and they know who their daddy is. They know who you were. Now our babies are doing so good. We're seeing every day that they're meeting developmental milestones and starting to try and roll over, and they're just a joy, and I don't know what we did without our children, and we are forever grateful for all of the medical treatment, all of the staff, the nurses, the physicians. We wanted to be able to give the NICU something just in thanks for everything that they did. One of the ways we thought we could say thank you is through food, and so we decided to bring them a bunch of cookies and big cookie cakes for both the day shift and the night shift from the Slayton Bakery, my hometown, and give back to our community, but also to honor them and let them know that we're so forever grateful for everything that they did for us.
Because of the work that the March of Dimes is doing behind the scenes, we had access to the best health care possible.
The NICU team was there and ready, and the surfactant therapy they received was developed by researchers at the March of Dimes.
And if it wasn't for all of that, things could be very different today.